UndergroundHipHop.com. What's going on? It's Van Styles. I'm here with Apathy, Connecticut's own. So you put out the new album, of course, Wanna Snuggle, and no help from a label this time around.
No.
Any label.
No.
Now, talk about that. Is it a struggle? Is it just a breath of fresh air?
It's both. It's a breath of fresh air, but it's also a big task, too. It's a big undertaking. You know, I mean, labels, I find labels to have terminal cancer, man. Like, the days of the labels are starting to become over. You know, you're watching record stores shutting down. You're watching labels shutting down. You're watching labels size back. But still, everybody's like, oh, you ain't got a deal? Nah, man. If you're, you know, the ones with the deals are almost the suckers because you got somebody dipping into your money.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody dipping into my money. I want all my money. So I take it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So obviously you're doing this thing without the label. You had the deal before with Atlantic Records.
Yep.
That went sour, as such things do.
At the time when I got signed, the industry was going through a huge metamorphosis. It was like everybody was kind of just came off the era of trying to search for the next Eminem thing. But then everything's changing internet-wise. And it just everything was changing right around that time, if you think about it, in the early 2000s. So everything was different, and there was no focal point. There was no like, all right, this is what we're gonna do, this is our plan, boom, here. It's kind of like, just keep going and see what happens. Just keep going and see what happens. Just keep going and see what happens. And I was just going nuts. I was doing everything for them. I'm recording to over Marilyn Manson beats. I'm doing this and doing that. They tell me to get in the, they're like, get in the gym and start getting diesel so you can run around stage with your shirt off.
They actually said this.
Yeah, they actually told me that. And I told another A&R that they said that, and he was like, man, don't do that faggot shit. Fuck that. Don't listen to them.
And they tell you put hooks on your songs, or like, do they tell you, construct it like this, we want a song about this? Or
kind of. They kind of
get?
gave me a direction, which is what the Asher Roth is. He's like, you know, appeal more. He's like, you know, when you say certain things, it's not believable. And I'm like, all right. And they're like, you know, be more like a frat boy and rap the frat. But man, I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being a frat boy, that's faking the funk.
That's gonna be more real.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They wanted me to skateboard, and the thing is that
they wanted you to skateboard. Like, this shit blows my mind.
They told me to start jumping on a skateboard, step my tricks up, and they were like,
what? Your ollie isn't good enough yet.
They were like, did you skateboard ever? And I was like, I mean, when I was like 9 years old, you know, I had a skateboard. And they were like, well, you know, jump on a skateboard, see if you can step your skills up and do that a little bit. And I was like, man, I'm not jumping on a skateboard. And then it's funny because I tend to wonder if they told Lupe the same thing. Shout out to Lupe Fiasco, it's a friend of mine. But I wonder if they told Lupe the same thing, because Lupe had a certain vibe. And Lupe had, you know, do-rags and the fitted caps and the t-shirts.
That's right, we learned that all he listened to was West Coast gangster rap when he fucked up the verses for Tribe Called Quest.
I kind of believe it, you know? And Lupe had that vibe, and then all of a sudden, after Atlantic told me to skateboard, and I was like, not gonna do it, Kick Push came out a little while later.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, you know.
No, you're not hating on your boy, but yeah.
Nah, not even, but I'm just wondering if that was the same process. And he made it work for him. Kick Push was a successful record. That jumped everything off.
No kidding. That's crazy, though. So how did you get out of that contract? Because usually it's like, well, you put out a lot of those songs out on It's the Bootleg Motherfuckers, Volumes 1, 2.
Yep. It's the Bootleg Motherfuckers. I spread it out. Where's your album? Baptism by Fire. All that.
How did you get those? Because you go out there, you record, and usually like you can't get your masters. You got all your masters back?
Okay. We record. You gotta understand, like, every album we do, a lot of other artists just go into some spot and they have somebody record them. We record ourselves, we mix ourselves, we sequence our entire albums. We do everything. We micromanage from the molecular level up.
Okay.
You know, we do every single thing.
Oh, I can feel that. That's actually your album.
Our process.
You've done most of the production on the new album, Wanna Snuggle.
Yep.
Do you feel like you get the respect you deserve as a beat maker?
Not yet, but I'm not really sweating it because I mean I didn't really come in that lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I came in as an MC, as a rapper. So if people are starting to recognize more, then it's cool. You know, I did a beat on the new Cypress Hill album, and Be Real was running around telling everybody. It was crazy. So I was walking around LA and people like Mr. Chalk coming up to me like, yo, and Alchemist hit me up and was like, yo, B played me that joint. It was bonkers. Off the new joint, so.
Now, and you had Be Real on your album, so you must have made an impression. How did you two first link up?
This guy, who's a very good friend of mine, Chris Barnett, was working at Velvet Hammer, which is Cypress's management. at the time, he brought them my beats, and they listened to the beats. They picked that one, so, and that was it. And then when I went out there during the summer, I went to go hang out with them at the temple, and worked with them on a whole bunch of stuff. Helped them with the album and do post-production stuff here and there. So.
Now that's interesting, you not being a weed connoisseur, to have spent all that time with Cypress Hill.
Yeah, man, I definitely would have maximized that if I was a weed smoker, but I'm definitely not, so, you know.
I'm more of a Xanax man myself. Klonopin, Xanax, Vicodin, Oxycontin.
Oh, okay, man, that's some serious
hey, whatever, you know. But you got the new album cover, with your boy did it.
Snuggle, yep.
Yeah, and you got it tattooed on your arm, right?
Yeah.
Let's see it. That's serious right there.
Feeling in my arm slowly as we go.
Poor little mouse, though. Do you ever feel bad for the mouse?
Never.
So I bet if you got high, you'd be feeling bad for the mouse. Like,
I can feel about that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe. I would. What's your power animal, since you have two on your cover?
What's my power animal? I don't know what my power animal would be. My power animal would be Honky Kong. That's me. Honky Kong the gorilla.